Hello aspirants, looking at editorials and question bank for 14th November. The first editorial in the Hindu newspaper is The Big Deal with Japan. So this is again regarding India-Japan nuclear deal. So it speaks about a little history too. We have done this in news since 2 days, even today it was in news. So India-Japan relations took a hit when India conducted its second nuclear test in Pokhran, that is in 1998, Pokhran 2. So after that the relations suffered till in 2001 when sanctions which had been imposed by Japan were lifted. Now after that we had started strategic dialogue too, and now we have signed after 6 years of negotiation. The India-Japan nuclear deal has also been signed. So India-Japan relations are of significance because China tries to have relations strong with Pakistan and Russia. So China-Japan relations are also they are like traditional enemies. So India-Pakistan are also traditional enemies. So India-Japan relations to be strong is of strategic significance in this region. So that is also highlighted. Plus USA plays as the big brother in all regions across the globe. But now with new US President Donald Trump in place, where he has said that USA will not play as policemen in the region. So then it is again of significance that India-Japan come together and work together to counter other powers in the region. So that aspect, strategic aspect, is also important. So India-Japan nuclear deal is of significance strategically too. So we are waiting for the Diet to clear it. We have discussed all other aspects earlier too. So that we can just skip through. It is given in this table too. So if you have already discussed about the India-Japan deal, if not, then go through the news sections. It's done. Then the next editorial in the Hindu newspaper is again a repetition and continuation of what we have already discussed in detail in news. This is about Punjab's politics of defiance. So this is regarding the Supreme Court judgment which came out right now on the 2004 presidential reference on the Punjab's Act, Termination of Agreements Act of 2004, which it said was negating the 1981 agreement under which sharing of river waters between Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan was agreed upon. So this is regarding the Satluj-Yamuna link canal, for which the Punjab has presently also called for another a bill which has not been assented to by the governor, which calls for returning the land which has been acquired on the Punjab side for this link canal. So Satluj-Yamuna link canal, please go through the news if you are not aware of the background. So presently the editorial is talking of Punjab being a poll state. It is going for assembly polls in 2017. So this whole issue has got political color. So though it is of significance that the river water resources have changed. So since water resources have to be realigned now, so 1981 agreement cannot function presently, but still practicality is not taken into consideration and giving it a political color, it is taken as a all or none game. So if either Punjab will get all the water or it will get none. So it's something like that. There is no compromise which is taken into consideration and negotiations have no place here. So that the politics aspect of it is highlighted. So these are the two editorials. Next, looking at the question bank. So for today, we have picked up only one question. This is based on the lead article regarding economic recovery in India. The perspective page articles, there's one article on again US President Donald Trump. So after being elected as the president too, there are still issues. So there are protests going on in USA. Many people are protesting and sloganing, "Not my president." So that is an article regarding this. So not of significance for us. But yeah, this is a sign of a true democracy, that people are allowed to raise their voice even against the president of USA who has been electorally elected. So you can see that in USA. Next article on the perspective page is on again Punjab Legislative Assembly elections and various political parties in fray. So not of relevance for us. The third article is on journalism. So again not of relevance. The question is, discuss the state of the Indian economy. Is there a decisive revival of the Indian economy? And on what factors does it ride? So presently the Indian economy is said to have acquired a certain amount of stability. So even the prices are under control. inflation is below 5%, both according to CPI, Consumer Price Index, as well as WPI, Wholesale Price Index. So that is significant. Even the current account deficit has gone low, because even import bills have gone low because of low oil prices globally. Also the exports have gone low, but the overall deficit has reduced. So that is of significance. The growth rate of GVA, gross value addition, that we have calculated for 2015-16 is 7.2%. Even for this financial year, it is 7.6% as estimated. So that is also good, looking high. So these aspects are of significance. Concerns basically are because of fiscal deficit being high. What is this fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit is the deficit which the government has when total expenditure is more than total receipts. So revenue collected is less, but the expenditure is more. So this is excluding the borrowing. So the fiscal deficit can be financed through borrowings, means debts taken. Also it can be financed through printing new currencies. Even disinvestment will result in financing this fiscal deficit. So there are various ways in which fiscal deficit can also be financed. So presently fiscal deficit is high. And another aspect is about NPLs, non-performing assets. So banks are under stress in India. So that is there. Also it points out about the demonetization program right now, because of which again the economy, if it does not recover quickly, an impact may be seen on the values. So that is there. Now talking about GDP and GVA, what is the difference between those two? So GDP base price was changed to 2011-12 presently. So this is the GDP growth rate, as you can see, for the years 2013-14 has been revised according to 2011-12, it is 6.6%. 14-15 7.2, estimated for 2015-16 is 7.6%. So that is there. Then this is about the gross value addition. Now to understand what is the difference between GDP and GVA. This is not supposed to be part of your answer, but just for understanding. So GVA is gross value added and GDP is gross domestic product. So GDP is calculated as the total final value of all goods and services produced in an economy. So that is GDP. So the final value of a product may include even the taxes. So the price of that product will have the taxes included in it and subsidies excluded from it. So this is GDP. Now gross value added will be GDP minus taxes plus subsidies, because this taxation value has to be deducted, because taxes paid, that money has nothing to do with value addition or production. So that is excluded, and subsidies which is provided is included, because that is the cost of production value of value addition done through that amount. So GVA is calculated as such because taxes and subsidies play no part in value addition, so they are adjusted for. So this is GVA. So presently the government is also using GVA to determine the growth rate. So this is there. Then next is about Consumer Price Index and the Wholesale Price Index. So this is regarding the basket of commodities under CPI and WPI. So you should know about this too, the weightage given to various commodities. So in Consumer Price Index, near around 45% is given to goods and beverages, 10% for housing, 6% for fuel and lighting. You can see here 28% is miscellaneous. And in Wholesale Price Index, the maximum weightage is given to manufactured products. Then comes primary articles and fuel and power. Next, what we need to discuss is another point on conflicting data which we hear of. So this is again not part of the answer, but just for understanding. So according to national income data, that is calculation of GDP and GVA for the first quarter of this financial year from April to June, the data shows that GDP has grown at 7.1% and value addition in manufacturing has grown by 9.1%. But then there is another calculation done. This is Index of Industrial Production, IIP. So IIP for this same quarter for this financial year shows that manufacturing has fell by 0.6%. So this is conflicting data. So now the thing is that IIP data is based on production numbers filed by factories. And this GDP's manufacturing sector data is calculated by a central statistical office, and this is done on the basis of inputs taken from corporate data. So 75% usage is for corporate data and little of it is segment of it is from IIP data. So that is why the conflict is seen. So this central statistical office has not divulged the report or the data based on which it has calculated manufacturing sector's growth. So that is the reason why the whole controversy has erupted. But then this is how the government is calculating. It is based on new value. So there is acceptance coming into, but the discrepancies do lie. So now coming to the actual answer to. Now talking about factors that have contributed to revival of economic growth in India. So first and foremost is agricultural production. You know, we have had a very good monsoon this year. So this has resulted in even agricultural production picking up, and also because of this, the demand, rural demand has also picked up. So this is one positive side. Another aspect, on the other hand, private consumption expenditure has also increased. So this is due to the 7th Pay Commission's recommendation. So this has increased the salaries and pensions of people. So because of this, now there is more money in the hands of the people. So private sector and consumption expenditure also increase. So this is positive development. Government expenditure, particularly on investment, has also increased. So it says that government's capital expenditure has shown a rise of 4.6% over the previous year. So this is a positive sign. The negative part is regarding the private investment in corporate sector. So corporate investment has not picked up. Their stagnation is still present. So this is one area which needs to be concentrated on. Another is also the external demand. So external demand has been subdued. The world economy's growth is sluggish. Even world trade is growing slowly. So these are also the aspects. Even India's, we saw current account deficit has reduced, but that is because both import bills have reduced because of low oil prices, and exports have also reduced. So we do value addition to oil commodities also and export them. So there also export prices have gone down. So that aspect is there. External demand is still to pick up. But still, India on its own too, we have introduced many economic reforms in past years. So because of which too, developments would take place on the positive side. But these are just enabling legislation. So they've been put into effect, and effect of it being seen, visible, that will take some time. So that is also positive side. The enabling legislations highlighted are also, one is Insurance Act. So this, once put in place, will also attract more foreign investment in India. So that is positive. Then Bankruptcy Act. So when a company undergoes bankruptcy, then quickly wrapping it up. So that enabling legislation has also been provided. Third is about real estate sector. To here a regulation act has been passed. So a regulator has also been established for the real estate sector. So that is positive. And finally also the Goods and Services Tax Act. So this will also, once enabled, will be providing positive stimulus to the economy. So that's why the Indian economy is reviving and is on the upward path. So this is the answer for today. Thank you. You can download the PDF from the website. The link is provided in the description. You can download the whole file containing news, editorial as well as question bank. Thank you so much.